These are some of the materials that I'm going to be using for this project. Polyfiller 1 fill, which is joint compound, and I used that to smooth the surface of the spoke guards, and I'm going to use that to build up some texture as we go on. Acrylic gel mediums, acrylic paints, various things for making texture with. I've got poultry grit, which is broken up pieces of shell, and little rubber rings that farmers use to dock the tails of lambs. I got both of those products from our local agricultural store. Some emulsion paint, which I shall use to paint the back of the spoke guards. Various other things like sequin waste and some metallic fibre, which I'm going to use to make texture with. Various brushes, palette knives and so on. And I've also got various decorative papers. I've got some old wrapping paper which has flowers on it, which I'm going to cut up and stick onto the surface of the spoke guards, and tissue paper. Now, having finished making the spoke guards, I've coated the whole thing with gesso, and I've marked out the position where I'm going to put the main embellishments. And my friend Judy in Australia, she and I did a flower swap last year, and she sent me some of these gorgeous flowers, and I'm going to put them just 3 or 4 on each spoke guard. And I've also got this wrapping paper with flowers on. I've cut some flowers out, and they'll be stuck down. And also I've got this tissue paper, mostly in pinks and purples. I shall tear that up and put that down as well, and then maybe do an acrylic glaze over the whole lot to sort of merge it all in, really. So I think we can get started now. Well, the other thing I've done, I've poked holes all around for the fastenings. Attach it onto the wheels. I'll have to keep poking them out as I go, because they're going to get filled up again. And now I've stuck down the flowers. This dries quite quickly, actually. I've done that with the gel medium, and I'm now going to tear up some tissue paper and start building that up. And as much as possible, I'm going to avoid the corners because it looks a bit too square. Now this is a bit difficult to stick down sometimes. This wrapping paper, tissue paper, isn't so good because it tends to break up when you get it wet. You just have to dab it on. I think it'll be alright. And if this comes out rather dark, it doesn't really matter, because if I put a glaze over the top of it, it will soften the whole thing down, I think. I don't mind it overlapping the flowers. It's going to give a softer effect, and if I want, I can always put more flowers on. I will carry on with that until I've built up a bit of colour, a few layers of that. Right, now I've done the tissue paper as much as I think I want to do at the moment. It'll dry clearer than this. In some places it's lifting a bit, but I think it'll probably be alright. I've decided not to go with this purple anymore because it's a little bit too strong. The colour's a bit too dark. And also I found that the regular gel medium was a bit too stiff and it was lifting the paper too much. So I've started using this soft gel, which is gloss, but it doesn't matter if it's gloss because there's more stuff going on top. Now I've done the tissue paper and the flowers with the acrylic gel medium, and it's all much too pink, which is what I thought it would be. So I've got my fluid acrylic, what colour is this? Antique white. It's quite a creamy sort of colour, and I'm mixing it with some of this, which is the acrylic polymer, to make a glaze. I don't want this too thick, I don't want it to obscure what I've done. I think if I paint that on really thinly, just glaze it over. Block that off a bit, I think. I want it too much, I just don't want it as pink. It's going to give a more subtle effect. After I'd added that acrylic glaze, it was still a little bit too pink in my opinion, so I'm just dabbing on sort of a bit of a mixture of yellow and white with some polymer. I'll put some more polymer on that. Just work it in. I don't want it everywhere, but wipe some of this back. Especially where the paper flowers are, I don't want them to obscure, but I think this will just reduce the pinkness a bit. I want it more cream coloured, I think. Right, so I've mixed up a selection of these colours, brown, beige and cream, and yes, that's the antique white, that one, it's a creamy white. And I think that's probably going to be alright. Just try and darken this down a bit. To wipe back where the flowers are. To work quite quickly because it dries quickly. I'm going to do a bit of reverse stenciling on this to add a little bit more texture, and I'm going to use my one of my stencils which I cut with my Black Cat Cougar cutting machine, and I've mixed up some brown and antique white fluid acrylic. Paint some of that on, to choose where I want to do it, because the main flowers are going to be there, and there'll be some more texture, so just do little bits. And then just wipe it off with a damp piece of kitchen paper. I don't want a hard edge.